Hi, everyone, and welcome to a brand new episode of Full Court Podcast with your host, Orazio Cauchi. As we continue our journey throughout Europe, it's now the time to step into another country and to talk about Russia. As you all know, we have three different Russian clubs in EuroLeague, and as of right now, they are all in playoff zone. So so far has been a good season for them, even if for some of them there have been some definitely ups and downs, but so far so good. And to talk about the Russian teams, and we're going to focus then also on the Euro Cup club Lokomotiv Kuban. To talk about these Russian clubs, I'm happy to have as my guest today from Russia, Dmitry Planidin. Dmitry, welcome.
Long time no see, buddy.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Me and Dmitry actually, we worked together for a while for an American publication, and so that's how we met, and now we connect the first time, and now it's been a long time since the last time, but it's good that we have the chance to reconnect a little bit and talk about basketball.
Yeah, for sure. First of all, apologies for the voice. Everybody knows that COVID is a problem, but a common flu ain't going away. So
yeah.
Keep yourself warm.
Okay, so to start this week episode, of course, we're going to talk about probably the most well-known team in Russia and all around Europe for basketball fans, CSKA Moscow. As I said, for CSK so far has been kind of an ups and downs season. They've been having issues with injuries. As of right now, they have a record of 10 wins and 7 losses in EuroLeague. Offensively, they've been a pretty good team. When we look at the numbers, they have the 4th best offensive rating in the competition. They take care of the ball because they commit very few turnovers. What has been, I was looking at their numbers a little bit. What has been a little bit of a contradiction is they are one of the best offensive rebounding team in the league, but at the same time, they have one of the worst defensive rebounding percentages. So it's a little bit of a contradiction for the team. What I wanted to ask you, Dmitry, to start is, according to you, what has been so far, let's say, the main issue for CSK in this season?
It's funny. If you have to use any word to describe CSKA season so far, I would say it's weird. Because everything weird is about this team. As everybody knows, or the majority of fans and media knows, CSKA has the highest win percentage of all time. Mm-hmm. Since the inception of the modern EuroLeague. So everybody used to wins during the regular season. Sometimes they have luck in the Final Four, most of the times not. But the regular season is the time when they usually dominate or win pretty easily. Not the case this year at all. And we all know the issue, as you already said, with injuries. If I'm not mistaken, there probably were 2 to 3 games, maybe even less, maybe 1 game when they have the full roster. And the CSKA is still a very deep team. Don't make any mistake about it. It's a 10-man rotation, very deep rotation, but Udis just can't use it all the time. Sometimes it's Milutinov, who is totally off, or is Tokushengere, who had injured with the national team, with the Georgian national team. So some issues with bigs, some issues with guards all the time. So if you put it, if you put the season, CSKA season into perspective, you just can't really say they start anywhere. They have to go from, I don't know, like from 30 to 70% and then 100%. So if you already mentioned rebounds, but look at their guard rotations, they don't really have a traditional true-point guard, so to speak. So they implement Shved, but Alexei Shved is not really true point guard. He's not a bad player. Somebody might think, oh well, where's the Shved, the Himki Shved, which everybody knows of. But it's a very different situation. Itudis has a different system, and Shved is not really complementary player. He's the guy with the ball. He's the guy with all the possessions. And right now he has to play point guard sometimes, has to play complementary two guard, and it's not exactly who he is. So it's issue after issue after issue. So you ask him to name one, you ask to name the main one. The main one, I think, is still injuries.
Yeah.
But they're very the majority of these issues are really into sets and plays and certain rotations in different games. So it's a very complicated.
Yeah. And before the start of the season, and even also in other interviews that he had during the season, I think that this was the first time in the last few years that President Pashutin showed some uncertainty, about the roster. He said, maybe this is the first time that we began the season without a full roster, and clearly the target was this point guard, shooting guard, combo guard that hasn't been there since the situation, of course, with Mike James that parted ways with the team, and CSKA was unable to find a new player in the market. Of course, they had targets, but in the end, they just couldn't find the right one. Of course, there was a lot of attention on Kevin Pangos, but in the end, Pangos decided to play in the NBA, to accept that offer from Cleveland. So do you believe that is actually one of the main issues for them so far this season, the fact that they couldn't find another combo guard to add to their rotation?
Absolutely, because Shved is not a true point guard. Excuse me. Ifil Lundberg is a clear two guard. He has the ball in his hands very often, but it doesn't mean he will facilitate. Mm-hmm. So the Kevin Pangos story is just one of these stories. As we all know, it's very hard to find any player. We're not talking about point guard, any player during mid-season. So you have to either wait for someone who won't have any NBA deal during mixed season, or the guy who is stumbled upon probably BCL Euro Cup level, mm-hmm. or something like that. So of course, if CSKA would have had a guy with let's say a typical average of 4 to 5 assists on the EuroLeague level, they probably will be more safe during the clutch plays when they usually give the ball to Will Clyburn. And I'm really a Will Clyburn fan. I have nothing against the guy, but sometimes he just can't do it all the time. So he can win one game, he can lose 2-3 games. That's not how one of the best European teams should be run. So right now, Shved, if I'm not mistaken, he doesn't even average 4 assists per game. So that's pretty much tells you how this CSKA team plays. So even if the ball is moving, sometimes it's not really about certain play. It's about finding an open player, whether it will be Shingele, whether it will be Shved, but it's not really something that Itudis wants to do all the time. For sure, they just do it on the fly most of the times, unfortunately.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And now let's try to move on a little bit and talking about probably one of the best surprises of the EuroLeague season so far. It's UNICS Kazan coming straight from Euro Cup. They're having a very good season. As of right now, they have a record of 11 wins and 7 losses. They have 4 different players who are averaging 10 or more points. John Brown, Lorenzo Brown, Mario Ezonia, and Isaiah Canaan, that as of right now is their top scorer with 14.5 points per game. And their numbers, they've been impressive. They have the second best 3-point percentage in the EuroLeague with 38.3%. They have the second best defensive rating in the competition. And they are also the best team in protecting the 3-point line, because they only allow 30.5% from 3-point to their to their opponents, and they are also the team who forces the most turnovers in the competition. So absolutely, their combination on offense and defense have been really, really good. My question for you is: did you have the feeling at the beginning of the season that UNICS could have been this good this quickly?
Did you have?
Personally, no, I didn't.
Absolutely not. We talk about basketball, we write about basketball, we chat about basketball, but personally, I'm not an expert. I'm just a typical journalist. So usually I'm looking at the roster, at the depth. So I clearly didn't see this coming. Absolutely not. The main issue that I saw just before the season is there are too many egos. Look at the roster. As you already mentioned, Mario Hezonja, Lorenzo Brown, Isaiah Cannon, these guys need ball probably all the time. So these are so-called typical NBA players that play in Europe. So it's very hard. And I've tweeted a little bit early during the season that Velimir Berasovic is a great ego manager. So to implement all these three guys into the roster, that into the team that's not really contender right now. It's in the playoffs. It's been in the playoffs for 4 or 5 rounds already, and the only disaster they have, the only big loss they had, is against Fenerbahce. If you look through the schedule, through the results, you see that all their losses are close. Or they win pretty much all the big games. They defeated Real Madrid. They pretty much defeated Barcelona, but gave it away the last seconds. They crushed CSKA, which was a sensational result here in Russia. It felt like that, absolutely. So it's, as you already mentioned, it's offense plus defense. So you can't really say it's one-dimensional team, and it's not really deep team. If you see through the rotation, they probably Tarasovic usually uses only like 9 to 8 players throughout the games. They don't have legit center. I love Tony Jakiri, but sometimes he just reckless. He just turns the ball over very often, and they don't have any backup center. They have Klemenko, but it's the guy just basically that he's there, but he plays like not even on the video level. So it's a very I wouldn't say sensational situation, but it's pretty close to it. It's pretty close to it because Hezonja is the guy who switches like off and on. You should find him in the right spots, but if not, he can just go like 0 for 6, 0 for 7 all of a sudden. Isaiah Cannon, shushing crowd in the Barcelona. He's the guy who I think personally could have absolutely found himself a contract, some minimum deal in NBA, but he chose to go here and he plays and he puts his heart, his soul into the game. So he's very useful for the team. And Lorenzo Brown, who I think Fenerbahce fans had issues in the past, who is not really your typical EuroLeague star. Right now he plays, I think, above his level. So all these factors came together, and what we see is a team that I personally had no idea would be that good. That's as simple as that.
Yeah. And considering the season that he's having, do you think that now a lot of EuroLeague clubs are having second thoughts, like, oh wow, we should have signed that John Brown guy? Because he's absolutely, dominating this season. He's been a force on both ends of the court. And there were some, rumors this summer about other EuroLeague clubs interested in him. But in the end, he resigned with UNICS. Do you believe that, some of those teams now are thinking maybe we should have gone harder to sign him?
Definitely. The guy is just one big energy tank. He plays on defense. He plays on offense. He's not really the guy you go to on offense because He has mid-range game. He's pretty cool under the basket, but he pretty much has no three-point range and so on. But on defense, he's a beast. He's a little bit undersized for a legit big, so you can't really put him on every center. But if you have to, and as I've already said, Brasovic had some times because Jikiri sometimes is just out. You put Brown on fives, and he's legit there too. So it's crazy. The guy can probably defend against four positions, probably against five with big point guards. He's a tremendous player, and the deal he has right now in UNICS with Kazan team, it's very valuable. I don't have the numbers, but I suppose it's not a rich contract at all. So if any EuroLeague team wants to grab him, I think they must definitely up the current deal he had with UNICS. So and everybody's happy with him, starting from the coaching staff and all the way to the fans.
Yeah, absolutely. Is definitely a great guy to have on the roster. So now we will move on to the third Russian EuroLeague club, Zenit. Also for Zenit, so far it has been a pretty good season. As of right now, they have a record of 12 wins and 6 losses. They are riding a 4-game winning streak as of right now. And, and it's been remarkable considering that one of their main additions in the summer, the guy that was supposed to be their star this season, Shabazz Napier, has basically been out since the beginning of the season. So he has never played so far. And, having the opportunity now to have him back for the second part of the season, that would be a great addition for Zenit. But what I've been really impressed by is Jordan Loyd, because he's been literally everywhere for this team, because we know him as a scorer. We know that he can score. He's a guy that has points in his hands. But, watching Zenit this season, I've been looking at him and I've been seeing him doing all the kinds of things, moving the ball for his teammates, taking rebounds. He has been really an all-around guy. And so I wanted to ask you, have you been impressed by his season so far? Did you expect this kind of, also you say leadership for Zenit?
Well, I don't think I expected something like that, because you never know with a team like Zenit, because they don't really have a superstar. They didn't really have the superstar last season. All props, all respect to Kevin Pangas, but he had also a bounce back season. So you never know. Yeah. But of course, Loyd is one of the best scorers we have in Europe, and he pretty much showed that. On Valencia roster, on Savannah's roster, and right now he's pretty much doing his own thing. But the problem, with Zenit's current roster, is the same pretty much for CSKA. They don't really have a true point guard. Yeah, you're absolutely right when you started your question with the Shabazz Napier. Yeah, they definitely messed up his rehab, because I saw the moment, and pretty much everybody who after EuroLeague action, they saw the moment when he got injured in the BDB Super Cup game. And it's not like the injury, of course we are not medical experts, but it definitely didn't look like the injury that will sideline him for 3, 4, 5 months. And we haven't seen him since in 2021, and the latest news suggests that we won't see him in January. So it's a big issue, and they had to do something. And they signed Tyson Carter, who has been killing in both BCL and Greece. So here you go. So the team that is right now one of the best among Russians, and if I'm not mistaken, they are 4th now, right, in the standings. Yeah. So pretty comfortable. everybody might think, but of course they're gunning for that home court advantage for sure. It's not like last season when everybody, oh wow, what a surprise. Everybody knows Xavi Pascual is a tremendous X and O's guys, great coach, and blah blah blah. But right now they are very deep. As I've mentioned, they don't have a superstar, but if you look through the roster, you have everybody. You have all the personnel. You have Gudaitis, a true center, and you have Alex Poythress, who's basically a 4, but can play 5 if you need to. You have Jordan Mickey, the guy who can score at 4, sometimes plays 5, and you have Mindaugas Kuzminskis, who can play 2 guard. Yeah. So, and it goes on and on and on. But sometimes you have to have Kevin Pangas type, and right now it's just not something that is happening in St. Petersburg. That's why they brought Carter. That's why they never give up on the Napier, because they really want to run really deep this season.
Yeah. And, the thing also with Zenit is now this is only their 3rd season in EuroLeague. So they have a very recent history in this competition, and their rise has been really quick. I recently wrote an article on BasketNews about their rise to the top, which was so quick. And the article was also shared by Zenit official Twitter account. So thank you, Zenit social media manager, whoever you are. But
it was a good article. Of course.
Thank you, man. Thank you. And what I wanted to ask you is, considering that there is also there are also talks about the project for a new arena, a new sports complex for the team. There is also that feeling in Russia that they are really a team, on the rise, that might become one of the most stable team in Europe.
Well, here's the thing. As we all know, the big football clubs are very connected to other sports. We know how many branches Barcelona has, like 8, 10. Handball, volleyball, probably even ice hockey. Of course, it's a very prestigious sport. The basketball in Europe is like a little brother to football, very little brother, but still it's something you want to invest in. And of course, Zenit is sponsored by Gazprom, and Gazprom is one of our huge companies, not only in Russia, but in the whole Europe. So of course, when they saw the opportunity, when they saw that what EuroLeague brings to the table, the brands the EuroLeague has, not only traditional ones as Barca or Real Madrid. Look at Bayern Munich, the team that was nowhere like 7, 8 seasons ago, and right now it's a huge brand. Football players come to the games, so they saw that this dynamic. The first season was just let's try and see what EuroLeague really is, and when they saw that they can absolutely have a decent budget, a decent tour, pretty good budget, and they sign all the good players they have an opportunity to. So they right now as I already mentioned, they will gun for Final Four first. But of course, in terms of infrastructure, they understand that the current arena they have, Sibur Arena, it's only 7,500, the same as Barca's, the same as UNICS, and so on. It's arena for a little bit. Not for action that is not really on the scale of the EuroLeague. So the new arena is built primarily for the hockey team, CSKA St. Petersburg, but I suppose they will use it to basketball for basketball games, because as we all know, CSKA plays Megasport. Megasport is a hockey arena. It's not a basketball arena. It's if I'm not mistaken, it's 11,000. Seated arena, and the new arena in St. Petersburg is 20K plus. So of course it will be huge, not only show a good team, a good roster to the whole Europe, but the arena is probably something near is NHL or NBA standards. Probably not right there, but pretty close to it. So of course it's a one big project. So Gazprom has had Football Zenit, which is a huge brand in Russia.
Yep.
And right now, all sports fans, not only football ones, they just recognize that Basketball Zenit is the team that probably will soon be as popular as CSKA.
Yeah, absolutely. And now, to finish this week episode, we're going to talk about Lokomotiv Kuban, the Russian team now in EuroCup, which is always, very ambitious team. They are always able to create a roster, fully loaded with talent. Even this season with players like Eric McCallum and Jonathan Motley. They're both having a fantastic season when we look at their numbers. But there've been, in the last few weeks, a few controversies when the team decided to part ways with Coach Pashutin. And, in a way, it was a little bit surprising because so far the season also in EuroCup has been pretty good. Kuban, as of right now, have 6 wins and just 2 losses. So what I wanted to ask you is, in your opinion, what was the main reason that led the team to the decision to fire Coach Pashutin and, to continue as of right now with their current interim coach with Branko Maksimovic?
Well, Lokomotiv is a very solid team at pretty much every season, and of course they were gunning for this EuroCup title, or at least a EuroLeague spot. And you're absolutely right. So far, so good in EuroCup. They just recently beat Partizan, one of the favorites. They lost to small clubs like Hamburg or Turk Telekom, so they're definitely one of the favorites. They were not so good in the VDB, but the issue here is not really the results, but a very demanding President Vidishev, and he has this tendency to pull the trigger early rather than later. So I don't really see any. I don't really saw any major issues, but Pashutin had his issues in the past. He has a very tiny, very thin rotation. That's why that was probably one of the reasons Quinn Cook departed so early. He had only a handful of games here there in Krasnodar, so they pretty much. Depend on their main 4 to 5 players, and I don't really see anything changing from coach to coach. They had, as you already mentioned, of course, the dynamic duo, one of the greatest, and probably not only in terms of stats, but really in terms of performance, the duo of Eric McCallum and Jonathan Motley, crazy numbers all over the board. But also Darius Thompson is one of the big names in the EuroCup. When you look at the PGs, point guards, of course, Stanton Kid. So it's all about their core, and I think the coach would have been always like not only like a third wheel, but as a supporter of the core guys. And I think, of course, they will have an opportunity to add somebody. The Quinn Cook experience didn't really work out well with them. By the way, like Kenneth Farid, I didn't mention it when we talk about CSKA's issues, but as we all know, as you know perfectly, the American guys who have NBA experience come here, think they will dominate, see some issues here, some issues there. Probably the coach is not too nice. Probably the weather is not too nice. Probably the fans are not too nice on the road, and they just not play to their level. But Lokomotiv right now has, I think, a good chemistry. Alan Williams came back. He had been a monster last season before the injury, putting up doubles all over the place. So they don't only have a good roster right now; they have a potential to rise up for sure. And the coach, I don't really think they need a grandmaster like Abramovich or something like that to really put them on that level. And let's not forget that the format of the Euro Cup this season is tremendously weird.
Yeah.
So if the regular season is a perfect combination, probably what I would suggest to the EuroLeague, like with the two groups, to implement more teams. Euro Cup has 20 this year, but when the regular season stops, you have pretty much March Madness in Europe. You have to win. You have to win every game, and there is no guarantee. So the best strategy right here is just to have a better spot, a better seed. Probably something like 3 or 4 would have been a disaster already, because you can have something like Ulm or a very feisty team. One loss, you out, and UNICS is right now in the playoffs picture. That leaves only one EuroLeague spot.
Exactly.
It makes it even harder.
Yeah.
So I think we, of course, right now we are talking about Russian clubs, but there is no guarantee for anybody, not for Lokomotiv, Partizan, Valencia, or Virtus Bologna. Virtus Bologna is now 5-3.
Yeah.
Matter of fact. So.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely gonna be a battle in Euro Cup with the format, and as you mentioned, with the fact that as of right now, UNICS, that was one of the teams coming from Euro Cup, is now in the playoff area. So if they will finish the season in the playoff area, only one Euro Cup team will go to the EuroLeague next season. So absolutely, it's gonna be a very, very intense situation. So for this week episode, we have everything. So I wanted to thank you, Dmitry, for being here, for accepting the invitation. Thank you very much, man.
Always a good time, buddy.
Thank you, man. And before we finish, just a quick reminder that Full Court Podcast is now also available in the audio version on Spotify. And of course, you will find the full format with the video version on our website, BasketNews.com, and on our YouTube channel. So with all you, we will see you very, very soon. Thank you very much.